Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet the Executive Director of Workforce Solutions for North Central Texas. She's going to talk about the outlook for 2025. You won't believe what her organization does. That's next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Okay, right now the unemployment rate is hovering around 4%, but we've all driven around and we've seen people just hanging out. I mean, people, able-bodied people who should be at work. And there's a myriad of reasons why they aren't at work. And to explore that is the Executive Director of Workforce Solutions of North Texas, Phedra Redifer. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Jeff.
Absolutely. Well, I'm honored to have you in the studio. And your responsibility, you cover some 12 counties?
We do. We have a service region of 12 counties, so we like to refer to ourselves as the donut around North Central Texas.
I love it. And I mentioned off the top of the show that there are all these able-bodied people. We see them too. But there are many reasons why people are not at work, and one of them is childcare, and that's something you address.
Correct. In the state of Texas, we really do prioritize the state of childcare and how we can make sure that working families have access to quality childcare. And so we couple childcare with workforce development. We spend a significant amount of money to make sure that families can actually access quality childcare programs so that they can return to work. And that really, Jeff, is a lot of what we do in workforce development is we remove those barriers that keep people from participating in the labor market.
Absolutely. You work with veterans. You work with people who were formerly incarcerated. You have a favorite story that you like to share. Will you share it with my audience?
I do. One of the great things of the many great things that we do in workforce development is we really target our work on those who are representing special populations. So those who were formerly incarcerated, those who might be homeless. We really take our pride in getting these people back into the labor market so that they have economic mobility. And of course, that comes with economic freedom. We actually know an individual who was recently incarcerated. Once they had left the prison system, they then are on their own. They basically need to figure out how to re-enter into the environment without slipping back to the old habits that actually got them into incarceration in the first place. There's this one individual, one of our customers, who was able to engage directly with our programs and services. And again, all about getting them into workforce development and providing support services as well. This individual was able to gain the necessary skills and training to be a CDL driver. So to drive those semi-trucks that are hauling our cargo and freight throughout the entire country. This individual went from incarceration to making $26 an hour. And we gave and restored for him the confidence in himself and the self-esteem that yes, he can participate in the labor market. He can also take care of himself, and he does not need to revert back to those habits that actually placed him in incarceration. And, you know, this is just one of the many stories that we have, and it really transforms people's lives. And when you think about it, it then transforms communities. And that's what makes this work so special.
And I know you have some statistics on that. So if somebody is released from prison and they cannot find a good job, they're more likely to end up back in prison.
That is correct. The recidivism rate is actually pretty staggering. And you have to think about it this way. About 92% of the individuals who are incarcerated come back into our communities. I think it's fair to say that we, along with others, would love for them to be skilled and trained with full-time employment so that they don't revert to those bad habits. And so we have a responsibility, and we have the support services available to us to make sure that they don't slip backwards, but that they're actually producing into the workforce and then continue to move on for economic prosperity.
Sure. And your organization is now coming up on 30 years. I mean, that's a long time. We're going to pull up your website, and as we scroll down the website, right? Let's think about the last 30 years. I mean, we've gone through all kinds of climates. You are largely funded by the federal government, if not entirely funded by the federal government. You're on this show at a time when, of course, Elon Musk and President Trump are doing a lot of cutting, but yours would be the last place anybody would want to cut.
I think anytime when you're working with federal funds, state or local funds, I think at any point in time there could be uncertainty. But we also manage these grants, and we look at these dollars in a way of investing and leveraging them. How can we take these public funded dollars and programs and really infuse these resources into the counties and communities that we serve? And so with the federal funding, we have specific limitations and conditions by which we need to utilize these dollars, and we also have very strict performance outcomes. So if we are leveraging and investing those dollars, we're producing the outcomes and the metrics that come along with these dollars, then we are doing everything right. And again, our entire job is to make sure that we are lifting people up and getting them back into the workforce for the health of our nation's economy.
We found a great promo video that you guys produced. Let's go ahead and roll that. All right, so let's talk about where the money goes, because you guys are very good stewards of the money. Let's talk about that.
You bet. So about 78% of our budget is actually dedicated towards childcare. So again, we provide scholarships so that families who need to return to work can actually access affordable childcare and quality childcare. That's actually extremely imperative in the work that we do. This year alone, we have $140 million dedicated to workforce development and childcare. These dollars are spent to the best and maximum use so that we again can support people getting back into workforce.
And the reason Texas's economy is thriving is because we do have a good workforce. But here in North Texas, we know that some 200,000 people move here every single year. And so we've got to keep up. That 4% unemployment rate should drop to 2% if all the able-bodied people were put to work. What's your message to employers out there? Because you really depend on partnerships with employers to hire your people.
Absolutely. We have partnerships all over, small, medium, and large-size businesses. We come up with customized business solutions. We offer apprenticeship programs so that employers can actually have apprentices who are coming in and they can earn and learn. And of course, those individuals have a great shot then of full-time employment once the apprenticeship program is done. We also can help employers skill and upskill their current employees, because what we think is that if you have a really good employee base, you don't go out and find a brand new employee base to learn a new skill or to bring a new skill in. Why not take those loyal, productive employees that you have? Let's invest our dollars. Let's do some matching in our funds with employers and the money that we manage. And let's reskill or upskill those employees, because they are definitely valuable. It's definitely worth investing in. And this is another way that we can continue to make sure that we have a robust workforce in the state of Texas. I would also share that we have about 15.5 million people in the state of Texas who are in participating in the labor market. That means they're actively looking for work, or they have a position in a field of work, earning a living wage. Then you take a look at the job openings we have. We have roughly 650,000 in the state, and we have approximately 650,000 people who are actually looking for work. So we clearly have a little bit of a mismatch, but we have incredible opportunity. Texas, as we all know, is big on business, and we have the workforce to supply the needs today and the future needs, particularly for those companies and industries that have invested heavily in the state of Texas, and why we get to enjoy this robust economy, and of course living in the great state of Texas, and those who are continuing to move into the state of Texas. We can deliver on the workforce. We're graduating around 350,000 high school graduates each year. A new crop is coming out of the high school system, and this is an opportunity to really plug them into the workforce and get them on their way to economic freedom.
Talk a little bit about your work with veterans, because obviously the discipline that it takes to work in our military, those are great skills, and that makes a great worker.
And I can say, we actually have a son, he's in the 82nd Airborne, and I know that if he chooses to stay in the military or he decides to leave after his contract is ended, I know that workforce development will help support him. We have about 1.5 million veterans who call Texas home. That's an incredible number of veterans who have highly sought after skills. They're accountable, responsible. They bring critical thinking to any environment, and certainly a teamwork collective. And so we know and work with many employers and businesses throughout the state of Texas who are looking for those highly desirable skills. And we found that in the veterans who are transitioning from military careers to civilian careers. And the work that we do in workforce development is we translate those military skill sets to what the general workforce would understand at employers and businesses, and they're highly transferable skills. And more often than not, we find that the veterans want to continue either in their career, but obviously in a civilian career pathway, or they want to start a new career, and we have solutions for that. So we really want to take advantage of the veterans who call Texas home and make sure that they have an opportunity at another career here in the state of Texas. And
you mentioned earlier in the show about people with disabilities. Share a little bit more.
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, we work a lot with those individuals from special populations, and we also have vocational rehabilitation services for those individuals who have an array of disabilities. One program that I adore so much is the Summer Earn and Learn program, and this is really geared towards school-aged young teenagers, if you will. We partner with those industries and businesses who actually want to hire individuals with disabilities, regardless of what age. And we actually offer these Summer Earn and Learn opportunities to students who need to do something constructive and productive in the summer months. These employers, they accept these students. They actually provide them on-the-job experiences and also pay them a wage. And I will tell you, we interview a lot of our participants, and the self-esteem that they build up from these experiences, and they recognize that yes, they can participate in the labor market. It gives them hope that there is something out there for them, and that they yes can have the independence that others can enjoy. And so we have a lot of individuals who do these work experiences in the summer, and we find a lot of our employers also hire them. And so we just really appreciate the partnerships that we have with our businesses and our industries, and we know that they're doing good work because they're making sure that no one sits on the sidelines when it comes to workforce opportunities in the great state of Texas.
Wow, Kristen, you're an amazing guest. So final thoughts, what would you like to leave people with?
I would have to say that the future does really look bright. I recognize that there is an evolution of what's happening right now in workforce development, but we here in the state of Texas, we look at these as nothing but opportunity. In workforce development, we are a bridge to the past, meaning we need to make sure that we don't leave anybody behind. There's a rapid change in technology, certainly the evolution of positions and careers that are out there, emerging priorities that are coming as it relates to industry and businesses and what they're bringing on the market. And we have the greatest opportunity to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to participate in the labor market, as well as to help strengthen America's economy and compete on a global scale. So the work is great. There isn't any better time, I think, than to be right here in workforce development, and we encourage everyone to truly look at those opportunities and get plugged in.
Outstanding. We're going to end with the website, which is dfwjobs.com, the great Phedra Redifer. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Jeff.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.